So another big collaborative event between the KF Center for Excellence and Typhoon Legacy was drawings and material. That was before your time as well, I believe, Darcy. That was Jamie Spilchuk that was involved with that one.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. So prior to that event between yourself and Jamie, we received the aircraft with some drawings, files with some drawings, and few and far between. Um, so we were also missing a lot of parts. I mean, it was said that our Tempest was about 90% complete. Well, I'm not sure how that number. I think that was a sales pitch, is in fact what it was. But so we didn't know what we were missing. We didn't know what we needed, and with only a limited number of drawings, we were really in trouble. Uh, we sent a fellow down, Jeff Patzer, who's the lead engineer here. He's been with the program since day one. We sent him down to visit with Kermit Weeks, who has a Tempest 2 prototype. So we got a lot of data from it, a lot of information from it, but it was a prototype. And so it's very, very, very different than the production version that we have. Ours was actually built at Bristol. And so ours is a little bit different again, as we talked about earlier with drawing changes and local shop procedures. So when you and Jamie were able to put a drawing package together and get it here and make sure that the Royal Aviation Museum in London had record of who had what and make sure we were doing everything above board, we were able to really take that next step to now we could identify what we were missing. We could identify some major pieces that we needed to go forward with now, items that we didn't even know we were missing. The next big jump, Ian, and I was around for this one. This was after I had started. Was the advent of the A standards. So you had the A standards. We did not have the A standards. We didn't even know at the time to ask you for them. So somehow Jamie and I stumbled on the fact. I wonder if Ian knows how to make that bolt. And so we gave you a ring one day, and oh yeah, that's an A standard 1, 2, 3, 4, and next thing you know, we've got a volume of A standards. And Hawker decided to make seemingly a bolt for every hole and a keeper for everything that need to be kept. And uh, so the ability to go now and make that bolt rather than try to reverse engineer the loads passing through whatever it is you're trying to bolt together just really changed and accelerated what we were able to do. So we are very appreciative, and through collaboration, we were able to say, okay, we've got a shared set of drawings, we've got a shared set of A standards, and we could really start to make some progress. And as you can see behind the first 5 years, we made a lot of progress that you couldn't see. And the last few years, we've made the progress that you see behind me.
Well, that's an interesting thing to point out too, is the amount of work that goes on that has zero visual progress. And these kind of things, information and going back to metallurgical data, all of that stuff takes years to develop and iron out and prove. And nobody gets to see anything because there really isn't anything to show. So A standards are one of those, and I often forget about them because they're uh, really uninteresting when you look at them, but they're absolutely critical. They're the foundation of the aircraft. Everything that holds it together is in there, extrusion profiles and just common materials that Hawker used across different platforms. It's nice to find a drawing, a complete assembly drawing that shows all these big chunks of structure, but without the smaller drawings and the information from the standards, they're almost useless. So it's kind of the glue that holds all that information together. So I'm really happy to hear that it helped out. As much as what you guys sent in return actually is after all that information is transferred, we made a deal that KF Center for Excellence provided us with a bunch of materials that are going to kind of really push the next aspect of the rebuild of JP843 forwards quite a bit quicker than if we had to raise funds and purchase the materials ourselves. And this is all of the tubing. There is quite a few sheets of aluminum actually for skinning the monocoque in there, and some massive chunks of steel that will be used in conjunction with these beautiful new wing pins to fasten the wings to JP843. And these large billets of steel are going to be machined down. They're the wing spar fork ends that are attached to the Typhoon's cockpit structure. So This is part of the collaboration. Everybody has different resources, and to be able to make trades that I don't want to say leapfrog, but really push projects, multiple projects forwards is a wonderful thing to see.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. If I can take just a moment to point out that guy over my shoulder,
Sure.
that's Graham Hayes up there, busily wiring up our aircraft. We're getting awful close. I say awful close, late summer, more like fall, perhaps the late fall. I guess I don't really know, but we're gonna do our damnedest to run the engine soon. And Graham's getting the systems together, the minimum systems that we need to get the engine running. So we're appreciative of all the fine folks that help us along the way. And so shout out to Graham. Thanks so much, Graham.
Hi,
Come on,
Graham.
Graham, wave. You can hear me. I know. There he is. Good job, Graham. Thanks so much.
Well, and what have you guys been getting back from in terms of feedback from people with R2800 on the front of that Tempest too?
In the beginning, we got some pretty negative feedback, and that feedback is what it is. I mean, if you want to go find a Hawker Tempest 2 and build one for yourself, you can make those decisions on your own, and you can choose to use whichever engine you like. We, for some very specific and very well thought out reasons, decided to change the power plant to a Pratt & Whitney R2800 and a Hamilton standard propeller. We decided to put in the wiring that Graham's working on right now. We decided to make these changes because we intend to fly this aircraft. We intend to fly it as often as possible. We intend to fly it as safely. Obviously, we intend to fly it as safely as possible. Pratt & Whitney R2800, perhaps the most reliable big round engine ever made. The Hamilton standard prop is supportable and reliable. We made these decisions to mitigate as much risk as we could, but still present an aircraft once it's all cowled up, short of the propeller spin in the wrong direction. Once it's all cowled up, it will be a Tempest 2 externally. If I may take a moment at this time just to mention that we're not trying to rebuild or restore. What we're trying to do is to pay tribute to Hawker's Tempest Mark II.
Okay.
It's with these changes that we've made that we now refer to the aircraft as our tribute to the wonderful aircraft that Hawker built. And as I said, it will show well. It is cowled in the original cowlings. It is made as original as we possibly can. So when the people come to see the aircraft, and one day when we do fly the aircraft, and they're going to see uh, what it was. So we do this with a lot of respect and a lot of consternation at times, as you mentioned. With the people that don't like the fact that there's a Pratt & Whitney engine and there should be a Bristol Centaurus engine up front. We do have a Bristol Centaurus. We do have enough parts that we could probably make the engine run. But like the Spider on your Merlin 3, uh, it's been a long, long time, and the technology does exist. We can get there. There is a Tempest in the UK in Sywell. Please check it out. Tempest 2 PR533 is its registration or its serial number. Please go check that out. That's an absolutely fantastic special aircraft, and it is, in my opinion, at least, and I've had the chance to see the aircraft, it is a Tempest. We have our tribute to Hawker's Tempest, and it will also show well, and it will fly well. And again, we've made these decisions for reliability and safety.
Absolutely. And I think that comes down to almost every restoration, rebuild, replica. I did an episode a little while ago. I think you've seen it on those three R's: rebuild, replica, restoration, and the different impressions that they leave with people. And I always call JP843 a rebuild, essentially as and not even a data plate rebuild, because the Typhoon never carried a specific data plate. It was a painted serial number on the tail. Rebuilt to original specifications, but tribute is a wonderful way of saying it as well. Um, there's to go back and to even with what we're doing, trying to be as accurate as possible to the original design intent. In some cases, we're going to end up with more accurate components because we're using CAD, and there's going to be a lot less fitment issues, a lot less of the hands-on stuff. But we also have to take into account safety. And when you start dealing with material conversions and old electronics and old instruments and old systems, there are going to have to be concessions in there where you have to put safety ahead of originality. So it's going to happen with JP843 too. And it's just something that has to happen if you're going to put an aircraft in the air around people. So I completely feel your pain with that. We hear a lot of stuff too. If there's an American thread or American bolt head or something, and it doesn't have the AGS stamping on it, it becomes quite a topic of conversation. So there's going to be more of those in the future. It's something that we all have to deal with. But at the end of the day, it's getting these aircraft in the air and hearing them and seeing them and smelling them, just experiencing the closest approximation to wartime experiences as possible.
Absolutely, is we want to be as respectful as we possibly can. These aircraft were built um, at a time when we were doing some things that we really wish we didn't need to do, and so this is our tribute, and it is out of respect that we pay so much attention to these decisions that we make, and we're willing to take it on the chin for them, because it is just, it's all based in respect for the times and the people that did what they did
Yeah,
back in the 30s and 40s. It's very, very important to us.
that's awesome. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Um, so I guess that really covers off a lot of the topics and collaboration. There's one more bit of collaboration that we're working on right now, as I'm sure there's going to be many more in the future, as both aircraft take shape and take to the sky. This one's more to do with our acquisition of the Napier Sabre. And again, I reached out to Darcy on it because we were also able to acquire some Bristol Taurus engines. And some of you may know that during the war, early on, the Napier Sabre engine suffered from a lot of teething problems. One of those was the sleeve, and the engines were seasoned after about 25 hours, which is completely unacceptable. The Air Ministry stepped in and asked Bristol, with heavy-handedly asked Bristol to share their sleeve technology that they had put a lot of time and research into with Napier to solve this problem. Um, they did, not happily, but they did share that. And they used the sleeves from the Bristol Taurus engine, which shared the same board as the Sabre, reground them and created some Sabre sleeves to solve the issue of warping and out of roundness that was causing the tolerance issue and seizing in the engine. So that gave that gave us the Taurus and the Saber here. What I want to do here in Typhoon Legacy is kind of take all of the big sleeves and really do some thorough investigation. The Taurus engine is rare. We're quite fortunate to have one, but we're also missing the Hercules and the Centaurus. So I reached out to Darcy and asked if we could possibly pour out a Centaurus sleeve. And when he brought the wing pins over here, Centaurus sleeve came along with it. So we've got this beautiful Centaurus sleeve that's going to go in with this collection for metallurgical analysis and mechanical properties. And we're going to take all of those Sabre, Taurus, Hercules, and Centaurus sleeves and just run them through the gamut and see exactly what was going on through the development of that metallurgical technology. So again, thank you very much for that, Darcy. It'll be really interesting to see what comes of that, and I hope everybody can stay tuned to see how we progress with that aspect of the project in the future.
It's great to be able to share it. It's just sitting on a shelf collecting dust. We have a number of sleeves. That sleeve wouldn't be one that could be salvaged, so it's a good candidate for the metallurgical testing. Uh, I'm just looking at the engine over your shoulder there, Ian. What a magnificent piece! To hear that engine run one day, and I know it will. It's going to be special. It's going to be very, very special. So again, like the Spider, but we'll have played some small role, and we'll be immensely proud of it. So thanks for the opportunity. We very much appreciate it.
That's wonderful. It takes a team, always.
Absolutely.
Um, so that pretty well wraps up what I wanted to say, Darcy. Is there anything that you'd like to add before we sign off here?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'd like to just plug our KF Aerospace Centre for Excellence.
Absolutely.
Un, unabashedly, a plug. Here we go. If you find yourself in British Columbia and if you find yourself in the Okanagan, please find your way to the Kelowna Airport. YVR is where we're at. We're up on the hill. You can't miss the center. It's a wonderful building. It's entirely made of wood. It is a convention center. It's two hangars full of national treasures, in my opinion. I may be biased, of course, but I'm looking down at our C-47 Dakota. It spent its wartime here in British Columbia in the Western Air Command, and I look further to my left, and our Mosquito, uh, Spartan Air Services, HML then, it's HMJ today. We still fly our Mosquito. We flown it a couple times this year. We'll be flying again here in the next couple of weeks. In the other hangar, we've got our most recent acquisition, Starfighter, CF-104D, two-seat Starfighter. Cold Lake machine, 104633 is its serial number, and it's beautiful. Mach 2.2 Cold War fighter interceptor. And from a sheer beauty perspective, we have uh, our Stagger Wing, 1946 Stagger Wing, burgundy, polished aluminum, and chrome. And I just don't think there is a more beautiful aircraft made. So, anyways, please come have a look at the wonderful aircraft we have here on display. We have a few others as well. I know you'll enjoy it. This building, the building that we're sitting in, is absolutely spectacular. The wings, the airfoil shape of the wings that we're in, exact replica of a Spitfire wing. And inside of that, we have all of our aircraft. It's a special place, and I invite you all to come visit us. So thanks for giving me a moment to speak on it. KF Aerospace Center for Excellence. I look forward to seeing you.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Darcy. I really appreciate the time and the patience with this. And I guess before I sign off, I should also mention that another collaborative item that we've done is this video. It was a big learning curve for me doing all this technology, and the patience from Darcy and the staff at the KF Center for Excellence was amazing. So thank you guys very much. And I'm sure we'll be in touch fairly soon with more requests and more pleads for help and more discussion on big hawkers.
Absolutely, please do. And I was going to open today with, "Hey, Ian, this is like deja vu all over again.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll make an outtakes video one day, and we may have done this 4 times, but don't tell anyone."
Yeah, no, I was going to make a Groundhog Day comment as well there, but
Yeah,
unfortunately, there aren't going to be too many outtakes because somebody forgot to hit the record button once.
it's been good fun.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me, and good luck with everything. And yeah, we'll do a lot more in the future. I know we will.
that's awesome. Thanks so much, Darcy.
Have a great day.
You too. Cheers.